Hi, I'm Jan Falconer. I'm a children's author, grandmother, and occasional participant in events that were definitely not part of the plan. Welcome to the Plot Thickens, the unofficial version. Now, this week I discovered that launching a children's book may be the most effective weight loss program ever invented. Not intentionally, you understand, but it happened because my passenger door window decided launch week was the perfect time to develop independent ambitions. So there I was, carrying books backwards and forwards across Dumfries, walking into town, walking home again, dropping books off at libraries, checking every few minutes that parts of the car were still attached to the rest of the body. None of this appeared in any of the publishing guides. Not at all. In my head, launch week was supposed to be quite glamorous. You know what I'm talking about. The book arrives. Everybody buys it. You celebrate. You have a wonderful time. You perhaps sit quietly with a cup of tea and reflect on the journey. Well, what actually happened was that life carried on doing what life always does. The book launched. The Orcadian featured Sukie. People started discovering the book and messages started arriving. And at exactly the same time, my car had ideas of its own. I'll say this, if anyone is looking for a new fitness program, I have discovered one. It's called Launch a Book, Lose a Dress Size. I don't think it's going to catch on. One of the nicest things, though, through all of this have been the conversations that have happened along the way. Because when you're carrying books around town, people get curious. They ask you questions, lots of them. Somebody might notice the books. Somebody might mention a grandchild. And before you know it, you're having a wonderful conversation about reading, cats and children's stories with somebody you've never met before. Those moments are actually one of my favourite parts of the whole gig of being a children's author. Then something very funny happens. It's true. Lorraine Kelly appeared in the Orcadian promoting her novel. Quite rightly too, because I loved the first one. A few pages later, a queen appeared. Queen Sukie, Queen of Cats. Now, I suspect Lorraine's publicity team spent rather more time planning their campaign than Sukie did, or me. Sukie simply accepted the coverage was entirely appropriate and carried on her day. To be fair, that's very much her management style when she's not taking over my TikTok. Now, seeing Lorraine Kelly in the newspaper did remind me of something. Years ago, and actually still now, Aberdeen had the famous Kelly cat sculptures dotted around the city. If you're from Aberdeen, you'll know exactly what I mean. So perhaps it was inevitable that I saw Lorraine Kelly in the Orcadian, and then a few pages later saw Sukie, Queen of Cats, and then my brain started making connections and I connected the two. I've no idea whether Lorraine would really appreciate being linked to a tortoiseshell cat with very strong views on household management and books and everything else. But the association arrived instantly to me and refused to leave. In fairness, both seemed perfectly capable of running things. And if I'm completely honest, I don't think Sukie saw any difference whatsoever. As far as she was concerned, the newspaper was simply catching up with the information she already possessed. The other thing launch week brings is emails. Some are absolutely lovely. Some really thoughtful. Some come from readers who genuinely want to talk about the story, and that's beautiful. And then there are the others. If you're an author, you'll know what they are. The others, offering extraordinary opportunities, guaranteed success, and publicity beyond your wildest dreams. Publishing has taught me many things. One of them is how to become slightly suspicious. I now find myself investigating things. Sherlock has nothing on me. Checking websites, looking people up, asking questions. Inspector Webber would be magnificent at this. In fact, I think he would establish an entire investigation department devoted solely to suspicious publishing emails. Yes, I'm sure he'll do that. There would be notebooks, evidence boards, possibly a magnifying glass. Sukie, meanwhile, would already know the answer. She simply wouldn't feel obliged to explain anything to anyone. The funny thing about writing these stories, whether they're the books or the mini-stories, I've been doing it for a while, these characters become so real. I know exactly how Book Sukie is going to react to the newspaper coverage. I know exactly how Inspector Webber is going to investigate a mystery. And I know Abby would have no interest whatsoever unless tea loaf and butter was somehow involved. And perhaps that's why I enjoyed this launch week so much. Not because everything went perfectly, because it didn't. And not because everything and every opportunity turned into something, because it didn't. And not because life paused so I could enjoy every moment, because it definitely didn't. I enjoyed it because it felt real. This book went out into the world. People found it. Conversations started. New ideas appeared. And life carried on like it always does. And somehow that made it feel far more meaningful. At the end of the week, after the libraries, the podcast, the social media posts, the emails, the newspaper articles, the walking across town, and the ongoing passenger window saga, I picked up the book, a real book. I smiled because books don't happen separately from life. They happen because of life. And looking back over the glorious chaos of launch week, I realised something. The official version is never quite as interesting as what actually happened. And that's why the Plot Thickens exists. It's the unofficial version. So until next week, please take care. And if you've got a story where life completely ignored the plan, I'd love to hear it in the comments. See you next week.